G'day guys, in this video we're going to be changing the rocker cover gasket. This is a job a lot of people seem to think is difficult, but it's actually pretty easy. You got 6 M6 bolts, so you need a 10mm socket. You remove those 6 bolts. There's another 2 M6 bolts holding a cable. You remove your spark plugs or coil packs depending on your engine, and then you simply remove the rocker cover, clean it, get out the old gasket. That's the hardest part, is cleaning it, taking out the old gasket, and then you simply put everything back together. So here's the engine. This is the 4G93, but they're all basically the same. Rocker cover is this bit here. So you can see the 3 bolts on the front. That's all it is really, as well as the 3 bolts on the back. These are your coil packs and your spark plugs. So obviously we'll be taking them out. The coil packs are the same size. They're M6, so we need a 10mm socket. And then lastly, there are 2 bolts for that cable loom that runs across the back there. They connect to the cover, but again, same thing, 10mm socket. So it's basically the only tool you need. We remove the 2 hoses that attach to the rocker cover and just push them up out of the way somewhere. And that's really it. It's quite easy to remove. Now the coil packs have these clips, these plugs that just need to be disconnected basically. And remember, when you're grabbing the spark plugs and that, just grab it by the rubber boot. Don't grab the cable, and they just pull out. It's not a difficult job at all. So I'm just giving everything a quick wipe down, not being too thorough, just to stop anything falling in where the piston rods are and the valves and everything like that. Spark plugs come out. There's 2 bolts here, M6, 10mm socket, and this is just holding that cable loom to the rocker cover. Once we have everything out, I'll just go through all the bolts on the cover now. So we've got 6 bolts in total. Once we get all of them out, we can take the cover off. So I've just got brake and parts cleaner here. I'm going to spray it onto the paper towel and then wipe around where the new gasket has to sit. Getting rid of oil, but also old bits of gasket. The gasket did leave behind some remnants. Some parts are trickier than others. And once we clean this section, we can clean the other section. Before we take this out, just make sure the new gasket fits perfectly. Don't want to take out a gasket that's working for a new one that doesn't fit. Now, this is a pain to get out. It took me a while to finally prise this edge up, and then it's just a matter of working it out. And the cleaning process is kind of the same. Screwdriver with paper towel wrapped around it, and we'll try and clean all these edges out. And then to better clean it out, we'll apply brake and parts cleaner again, just to loosen off any dirt. And then we'll go through the same method with the screwdriver. And then you just rinse and repeat this as many times as you want, until you're happy with the result and you think that your gasket is going to get a really good seal. Now, once we've finished here, we'll take it elsewhere to dry it and fit the new gasket. So putting the gasket in, we've already made sure that it fits. Now we just want to get it in, make sure the holes line up with the bolt holes, and you'll see it protrudes a decent amount, and that's good because that will compress as we go to torque it down. Our kit also comes with new spark plug seats, so we're just going to give that a little bit of a wipe down, and we'll fit the new rubber seals on there. And there was nothing wrong with the old ones, but we may as well do it. You can see I've put the bolts in. That's just to ensure that when we're threading the bolts through, we're not gripping and tearing the new gasket. They're already through and lined up. Now we just need to locate all of those bolts. There's only 6 of them, so it's not too hard to do. And this is just hand tight, obviously, until we get them all started. And then we'll go through with the torque wrench after that. Now, locating them is pretty easy because they basically should line up. You just give the cover a little wiggle if it doesn't line up. Now the torque wrench, 4 Newton meters. It's really, really low. I'm just testing it there on an existing bolt to make sure the torque wrench clicks out because I don't want to over tighten it. Now you'll notice I go through in a pattern. I move along or down one, but I also cross sides. And what I'm doing here is going through, tightening them all up, and I'll go back, and then I just keep going, because if you get one to click out at 4 Newton meters, by the time you've done the other 5, the original one you were doing won't be clicking at 4 Newton meters anymore. So all I'm doing here is getting all of them to be clicking at 4 Newton meters at the same time. So it's not a lot of pressure, but you need to spread it out and then just keep going back and forth until you got them all at 4 Newton meters at the same time, and that's a proper seal on the gasket. We shouldn't have any issues with that. Once that's done, we've just got our coil packs to put back in. We've got the 2 bolts for that cable loom, and we've got to clip in those cables again. And one thing to note is that 4 Newton meters is very light, so you've got to pay attention, make sure you feel it click, and you're not just tightening that bolt too much. Coil packs are easy, push them in, you'll feel it click. Same as when you're doing the spark plugs, it'll click into place. Then we just have those connectors on the edge to do up. And you don't really have to worry about torque settings for these. It's just firm without being stupidly tight. So don't forget the 2 hoses back onto this rocker cover. No clips or anything with them, they just push on and they hold themselves there. The 2 bolts for the wiring harness, clip the 2 clips in for the coil packs. That's it, job done. So that's it, I've been for a drive and there are no leaks from the rocker cover gasket. Got no leaks at all now since I changed the camshaft oil seal that was leaking. So it's a pretty easy job, 6 bolts really with a few bracket bolts and spark plugs and stuff. Everything's 10mm socket and you can do the job in about an hour. The hardest bit is just cleaning everything and then dealing with the mess of cleaning everything as well. So good luck. Now this is a job that a lot of people think is hard, but it's actually really difficult.